Welcome. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's having a great TGIS. Thank God it's Saturday. I mean, Sherry. I'm really going to try hard to have proper etiquette as long as for what I'm drinking. Hi, Kara. How you doing, honey? Hope you're having a good day with your kiddos today. So I have a surprise, by the way. I figured out how to show a different screen on my phone to my computer, but what I haven't figured out is exactly how to connect that to YouTube. So hopefully we're on track to figure this out, but I thought I'd let y'all know. As for, there's only one viewer right now that I'm in discussion with as far as hey Henry, how you doing? As far as the Turpin case goes, and that's Mrs. G. Aussie. I don't think she's here yet, but I wanted to make sure to show her the paper. It appears as if she perhaps has ordered the files as well of whatever is made public. My cats are having some fun. But for Mrs. Aussie, I wanted to show her this paper so that she could see that it's actually a subpoena that was ordered from Whittier Hospital, one pack ordered and released to district attorney. And that was on June 20th, 2017. So we were in some discussions about that, and I thought I would just clarify. Hey, quit fighting. Sheesh. Just finished my first week at my new job. Exciting. Right on. Congratulations, Kara. You know what I just did for the first time with God's help, because I don't know what I'm doing, was I changed all the battery watches yesterday. So this is one of the watches from our jewelry haul. Kind of exciting because it matches my jeans. So I hope everybody's having a good day. Today we're going to be talking about the heinous murder from the Stalker of Rebecca Shaeffer. For those of you who maybe don't know who she was, she was an actress back in like the 80s. That she was a star in My Sister Sam, and she also acted in the soap opera One Life to Live. And back in the 80s, soap operas were pretty huge. Everybody was watching them. I know my favorite was Days of Our Lives. Oh boy, I remember sitting back daytime television as a teenager watching this stuff and following the drama and letting it grab you so that you need to come back and watch the next episode. It's so funny. Hi, what's up? How's it going, Tambra? Hello, Kate Watts from Ontario. Any relation to Christopher Watts or the Watts family, or is this just a coincidence that you have the same last name? Have you checked into your lineage? Maybe you are like a distant relative. I'm curious. I'm so curious. But hey, Henry, how's it going? Then Miss Shaylee. You watched Days of Our Lives in General Hospital? Yeah, Days of Our Lives was my favorite. I tried to get into some of the other ones, but they weren't as good to me back then. So I got into the Days of Our Lives. Good times. Hey, Alice, how's it going? Not too much. We're just getting into the subject of the heinous murder of Rebecca Shaeffer. Unfortunately, and many celebrities have this issue, guys, about stalkers and people that are just over the top mentally, that feel like God's talking to them and they have to be together and God's telling them to kill them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, no wonder the religious world is getting like crapped on as much as it is, with the way that, people are lumping all of the negative experiences in with all the good. You know what I mean? So, hey, Chica, how's it going, honey? we're having a better day. Still dealing with my depression, but I'm not letting it affect me as much. So I'm trying to stay positive. I basically, yeah, I have to pick myself up out of it. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up living there, and I don't want to do that. I've said that to you guys many times. So, but let's go back to Rebecca Shaeffer. So she was born November 6, 1967, and she was an American model and an actress in the 80s, as I stated. She had also played in Mork and Mindy with Robin Williams, which was probably a pretty neat experience. I know that he was somebody who was on the forefront of mental illness and depression and things that are going wrong quietly inside. He was a victim of that as well. And so I really am inspired, though, by the way that he tried to stay positive through it all, because it literally is, depression is something that literally affects you like all day, every day. And you have to consciously, continuously, exhaustingly pull yourself up out of it every single day. So, it's easier to just let yourself go and fall into it and shut out the world and say, forget it, I'm not dealing with anything kind of thing. But that's not the healthy way to do things. And it is the way that I do things sometimes, but it's not healthy. And I recognize that. And I need to stay positive. So I enjoy how much Robin Williams was able to bring to the film world and to the public in general. Despite his mental illnesses and his depression, he was able to bring so much joy and laughter and good times that it was almost not noticeable, and those are often the ones that carry it the heaviest, because, they're dealing with things, so harshly on the inside. So I tip my hat to him. It's too bad that he's not here anymore, but, may he rest in peace. Robin Williams was awesome. So she also, Rebecca Shaeffer, played in The End of Innocence, Voyage of Terror, Raging Bull. She was in a bunch of various films and stuff like that. So, so early on in life, she was born to a Jewish family. And that was in Eugene, Oregon. She was the only child to Dana, and I believe her father's name, I can't remember right now. Where did I write it down? I know I wrote it down. Benson. Mr. Benson. Also Schaeffer, of course. But that was their only daughter. And, being an only child of Dana, she was a writer and an instructor at the Portland Community College. And Dr. Benson Schaeffer was a child psychologist. So he describes his daughter as always wanting to please them and, just really being successful in anything she sort of put her mind to, and being a very go-getter type of a person. She initially had aspirations to become a rabbi, but began modeling during her junior year in high school. And then Schaeffer appeared in department store catalogs and on television commercials. And she was even seen as an extra in a television film. So in 1984, Schaeffer's parents allowed her to move to New York City to help her pursue her modeling career. But of course, while she was in New York, she attended professional children's school and bettering herself. In the mid '80s, she had landed her role on ABC's One Life to Live. And, that lasted for about half a year. During that time, she did attempt to further pursue her modeling career and stuff, but she was 5'7". She was considered to be too short back in those days of the fashion world. You really had to be a very certain stigma type height, weight, look. Now it's not so I guess sheltered under that one little roof. You know what I mean? It's a broader range of modeling these days, and I think it's a little bit better. of the modeling days, to instill to the younger people that your differences can be your beauty, that you don't need to look a certain way to be known as beautiful. I love that some of the modeling world is coming out with the women and men who have mixed skin tones and just really embracing. They've even gone for autistic modeling and stuff like that. There's all kinds of models nowadays. It's no longer just the one height and weight and stigma of, you know, what you need to look like to be classified as beautiful. So, but it's, you know, she continued to try anyways. And in 1985, she ended up moving to Japan in hopes of finding more modeling jobs, but still encountered difficulty due to her height. She ended up returning to New York and decided to focus on her acting career. So in 1986, Shaeffer won a small role on the Woody Allen comedy Radio Days, but her performance was ultimately edited from the film. Only a brief like scene feature character remains in the film. She continued modeling and also worked as a waitress. After landing the cover on the 17 magazine, she caught the attention of television producers who were casting a new sitcom called My Sister Sam, starring Pam Dauber. So Shaeffer tested and she won the role of Patricia, Patty Russell. And, you know, as a teenager, she moved from Oregon to San Francisco to live with her 29-year-old sister, you know, Samantha Sam Russell, after the death of their parents. So the series had initially hit ranking in the top 25, but was canceled halfway through in the second season in April '88 due to failing ratings. I guess the show wasn't doing so well anymore. So after My Sister Sam, Shaeffer had some supporting roles in scenes from Class Struggle in Beverly Hills, The End of Innocence, as I stated, and the television film Out of Time. She also served as a spokesperson for the children's charity Thursday's Child. On July 18th, 1989, she was basically, you know, sitting around at home. She was waiting to receive sorry, I lost my train of thought there, you guys. The audition role, you know, papers. So like they basically the script of the movie Godfather the Third, Part 3. There was other actresses that were well known at that time that were hoping to land the role, but it, you know, Shaeffer ended up, you know, getting the script to, you know, apply and get that position or whatever. So while she was waiting at home on July 18th, 1989, she was waiting to get that script, and I guess her buzzer didn't really work to her apartment. So when she would hear the buzzer, she wasn't able to answer it physically from her apartment. She would have to go downstairs and open up the door for whoever it was. So she had no way of knowing who was at her door. And we'll get into that in a second here. So let me explain a little bit about Robert John Bardo. Not a very positive guy, but hey, let me get that. Hang on. Robert John Bardo was a really not so sane type of individual. He was born January 2nd, 1970, and he's currently, of course, well, serving life imprisonment without parole, so life without parole. You know, Robert was born youngest of 7 children. His mother was Korean and his father was non-commissioned officer of the U.S. Air Force. The family moved frequently and eventually settled in Tucson, Arizona in '83. Bardo reportedly had a troubled childhood, and he was abused by one of his siblings and placed in foster care after he threatened to commit suicide. So Bardo's family had a history of mental illness, and he himself was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. At age 15, he was institutionalized for a month to treat emotional problems. Bardo dropped out of Pueblo Magnet High School in the 9th grade and began working as a janitor at Jack in the Box. In the 18 months prior to Shaeffer's murder, Bardo had been arrested 3 times on charges that included domestic violence and disorderly conduct. Bardo's neighbors also said that he had exhibited unexplained, strange, and threatening behaviors towards them. He had developed this obsession with Rebecca Shaeffer and described it as being like a relationship through the TV and film. And he would just, I guess, thought that it was involving him. He felt like it was a them thing. And, you know, he in fact tried to contact her a few times. He went to her, her site that they were doing the movie recordings at and tried to get past security. He had a teddy bear with flowers and chocolates, and he had lied to the security guards saying that he knew her and, you know, she was expecting him. And, you know, of course, the security guard did good and well by calling up to the film set and asking if Rebecca was expecting somebody. And, you know, the makeup artist even remembers, you know, saying like, we didn't know who this person was and we didn't know why he was there, and we weren't expecting anybody. We didn't have an appointment with anybody or anything. So they kind of just told the security guard to just tell him to leave the premises. So he was escorted off the premises, which he went willingly, but came back hours later quite angry and, you know, kind of being, you know, disruptive, and again was escorted off of the property. But apparently he had witnessed one of her movies. She had a love scene in it. And, you know, he felt like betrayed. And so he decided that he was going to kill her. And he did, you know, he had gone to try to purchase a gun and everything like that. And thank goodness that the owner of the gun store was smart enough to see that Robert John Bardo was definitely not all there and perhaps should not be sold a gun. And they actually ended up putting up a picture in the office area telling everybody that this guy's not allowed to buy a gun. So what he ended up doing to get around that was he went and asked his brother if he could buy him a gun, and his brother did, not really thinking that anything bad was going on and not knowing what his intentions were to do with this gun. His brother just went and willingly bought him a gun, and here you go. He thought he was just going to do target practice with it, and that's it. And, you know, it ended up being the exact weapon that he used to kill Rebecca Shaeffer. Sadly, you know, he went to her house on July 18th, you know, 1989. And as she had opened up the door the first time, actually, he had met with her like one time and he didn't do anything. He showed her the picture that she had sent him, an autographed photograph. And, you know, he tried talking to her and she realized, you know, that he really didn't have anything important to kind of say. And he was kind of a little bit sort of wasting her time because she was waiting for that transcript of The Godfather, the third or whatever. And, you know, she had just politely excused herself. And, you know, so he left and then came back. And that's when he, you know, she had come down, of course, to open up the door after hearing the buzzer. And, you know, he shot her right there, you know, completely insane, this guy, right? And he ends up being found wandering around the highway, screaming at the top of his lungs that he shot and killed Rebecca Shaeffer. Of course, he was tried in a court of law. He was tried just by a judge, though. There was no jury. I don't think he would have had a chance either way, though, in all honesty. And the only time that you really even noticed anything going on with Robert John Bardo is that he started to really get into the music that was played. There was a U2 song that was played, and you could see him physically just, you know, getting right into the music and headbanging and going with his, you know, air guitar type thing. And like it was kind of scary in a sense. You didn't really see, you saw him almost get taken over in a moment there, you know, just by sort of reliving, reliving that moment in a sense. I don't really know what it was about that song, but it sounds like it was something that, was quite empowering for him in some way, in some sick way. So I Googled some of the other celebrities that have had like this kind of an issue, because it's not, it's not solely just one. It's not just men. It's not just women. There's victims of this kind of stalking on both sexes sides. Some other celebrity stalkers I looked into was Katy Perry. She had a stalker that followed her around at each of her concerts and stuff. Sandra Bullock had somebody sleeping outside her home. Sean Johnson actually had Robert Orion was her stalker. He thought that she was the woman of her unborn children, and very crazy. Justin Bieber had a guy who wanted to cut off his private parts and save them. Selena, I don't know if you guys remember Selena, but I remember that movie. It was a Latina family run, showbiz type family, and she was the performer. And there was a woman named Yolanda that her name was Saldivar. Yolanda Saldivar, and she had come into the picture, basically saying that she could set up a fan base, and then it was found out that she was skimming from that fan base, and it ended up, when they confronted her, that Yolanda ended up killing Selena, which was really sad. Kim Kardashian has a permanent restraining order on her stalker, and Justin Timberlake actually had a woman that was stalking him, that was coming to his house saying she was a person of God, and she said that God's telling her that they're supposed to be together. And I mean, like, it's just scary. Jennifer Aniston, Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Beyonce, Miley Cyrus. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and that's just recent stuff, guys. Scary, scary world out there for sure. It's now been about 30 years since Rebecca Shaeffer was murdered. And some of the laws have changed based on what happened to her. Thankfully, the DMV no longer just releases info. That's become something restricted and of a private type of confidential information. And then of course the family had gone on to request safer gun laws and screening of people before just selling them a gun, because they reside in the United States of America and they have the right to own it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you should have the right to own one if you are mentally unstable and you could use that against somebody in a bad way. It would be safer to not sell to certain people, right? And I think that that's been a hot topic for many years in, of course, the political world and whatnot in the U.S. and your constitutional rights to carry and arm yourself, for protection or whatnot. So I think it's a good thing. And I think that the screening of people is really important. I think that we shouldn't just be handing out guns to whoever, wherever, whenever, but that there is some sort of screening to make sure that this person is mentally stable to own one. Okay. Hey, Leslie Mitchell. Welcome. I've not seen you here before. Hey, Gina Shaw. How are you? The Beast. Holy, come on, buddy. I just clicked it to see what it said. Yeah, it is a little bit of a crazy world out there. But, Rebecca Shaeffer reminds me a little bit of myself in a way, because she was so open and kind and caring and wanting to give back to her audience, and, returning fan letters and all this kind of stuff. Thanks for the compliment on the lipstick, Gina. Hey, La Johan, Lafreniere. How are you, honey? Miss Coley. Subscribe to TSWSW. What's that? Is that supposed to be for me? Yeah, Starship Fun Show. Oh, I can't remember. You're Jerry, right? I remember, I think. But TGIS, yes. Thank God it's Sherry. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I think that it's unfortunate that it has to take a scary or irreversible incident to occur before the laws are changed. It would be nice if we could think of this before somebody gets hurt, so that we don't have to lose, a good person. I mean, let's face it, it doesn't seem to be, the rapists and the murderers that are getting pinned off. It's the good people that keep getting pinned off, and that's really, that's not good. I have seen some of your videos, just not the live ones till today. Well, welcome, Leslie Mitchell. I'm so glad you could join. If you guys are new here, throw up a like sign if you're enjoying it. I like the support. It's a very nice way to show that you support me. And if you are new, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Well, welcome, Starship Fun Show. Starfish. Oh my goodness. But it's unfortunate that it has to happen, though, that something crazy or heinous or somebody has to die before, laws and rules and regulations get implied or instilled and stuff like that. Such as, the safe rides that now have to mandatorily have, a lit sign that's visible up to 50 feet, after Samantha Josephson lost her life, for mistakenly accidentally getting into a stranger's ride. She lost her life. I mean, the woman had her whole life ahead of her. She was just a young 20-year-old girl. Just absolutely sad. I mean, I'm glad that we now, in that area, or maybe perhaps all over the US, it's now a mandatory thing to have. I know here in Canada, there's been a lot of, changes when something bad happens. But it's unfortunate that it has to get to that point before it gets changed, is what I'm trying to say. I'm looking into the Chris Watts case, and it brought me to you and a couple of others on here. Nice. So as far as Chris Watts goes, he's definitely going to be serving his life without parole and probably getting some type of a job, perhaps in the kitchen or laundry areas, is what I'm assuming. He will be getting released into general population, and then at that point he's given a handbook to maintain and obey at all of the rules that he is supposed to, obey and stuff. So he has quite a bit of luxury, in my opinion. I don't know, I definitely don't think that he should be, sitting there, talking to his kids through pictures and shenan and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's true, that it's looked upon as a trophy type thing when you are holding pictures of your victims, and I understand that there's Nancy Grace has been, supporting the petition to have this removed. What really, just gets me is, why hasn't the petitions for Nicole Kessinger gone full head? Like, I mean, we got full signatures on boycotting anybody profiting from the crime. We did not hear anything back about Nicole Kessinger. There was 3 petitions for that girl. And, but all of a sudden there's this petition with Chris Watts to have these photos removed, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of signatures, when there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are like, wait a minute, it seems like Nicole Kessinger might have a little bit more involvement here. Could we get her to get re-questioned? Could we get her to get polygraphed? Could we get more investigation done on her? And yet the petition doesn't get signed. And when I did sign it, my name was removed, and I'd go back and I'd have to re-sign it, and then it would be removed again. So it's a little bit odd to me, you know, that all of a sudden it's working so well. It was working so well for the boycott, and it's working so well for Chris Watts's and photos in his cell, but it didn't work for Nicole Kessinger. Like, what the fiddle? What the fiddle is that all about? You know? And like yesterday or earlier today, I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. I was actually on another YouTuber's channel, and I heard somebody talking about these petitions. Somebody that it sounds like this is a person that maybe started the petition or whatever. And this person is exactly the same person that I told you guys I had talked to in the past. And I had a bad feeling about this person's voice, and there was something that was off about this person all the time. And, I swear that this person is actually Nicole Kessinger, and that she is in and around YouTube, and she is floating in between the YouTubers that are creating things. I actually had some dealings with this woman, and actually private conversations offline. I even sent her mail. So I have her mailing address. But all I got to say is it sounds as if Nicole is all over her own stuff. And I don't know if she has the abilities, but I mean, if you got money, you have the ability to get something to glitch and not work properly, or put a virus in on it or whatever, and you never see the person's face. She did that to me too. We would literally FaceTime, you guys, and she would have her phone tilted up to the ceiling. So you could hear her, but you couldn't see her. And I got to tell you that the couple of times that I did see her, she did resemble Nicole. I'm not going to lie. Like, I almost feel like I talked to this on the side. I almost feel like I've already dealt with this chick, It's kind of a little bit weird and crazy. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I have said this before, though. If she is so worried about all the public, why doesn't she just come forward with her own evidence to show the public, which nobody should, generally have to do. But if you want to clear yourself because you're attached to a murderer, you might want to just come out to the public and say, here's my proof that I really wasn't anywhere around the Watts house on August 12th or 13th. Is it really that hard? I don't know. It just seems like, that would be a perfect solution to get the entire world to back off of her. But it seems pretty snaky and sneaky, which I completely could see her doing, getting in and trying to talk to all the YouTubers and get information or whatever, and thoughts and whatnot. But I got to tell you, from day one of talking to that woman, I honestly instantly thought, this sounds like Nicole. Like, man, does this sound like Nicole? Except the only difference is that she doesn't say like all the time. So she should do that. That's what I think, Leslie. Like, if I was attached to a murderer in some stupid situation because I made a bad choice to sleep with a married man, I mean, whatever, own up to it. The whole world will back off if you could at least just show that you weren't involved. I mean, sheesh. Hey, Denise. I don't think she has immunity. I don't know. I did not get that, to be honest. I didn't see that anywhere, but I don't think that's anything they'd release to the public regardless. I just think it's more plausible that that's like damage control than anything. But yeah, like if you're not guilty, you should really have no problem. And yeah, the majority of us wouldn't want to have to air our GPS coordinates as to where the heck we had been, but we're not all attached to a murderer that annihilated his family, possibly because of another woman and wanting a different life. I mean, you're bordering being guilty at this point, girl. You might as well come forth with whatever you got, clear yourself. And the fact that she doesn't just continues to make the public think, well, I guess she really had something to do with this. I mean, either we're left to think that, you know, the law enforcement is corrupted or paid or whatever is going on, or she is guilty and she's just not coming forward. You know, I mean, what's left for us to think is not positive. So it would be nice if somebody, law enforcement or her attorneys, were to come out and say, hey, this is the information. I mean, at this point, you'd come out with it and we'd be like, what the fuck took you so long? Excuse my French, but you know what I mean, right? We'd be like, where the fiddle have you been with this all this time? You know, did you orchestrate this proof now? Is this even authentic? Like, of course we're going to be questioning it now. I mean, if she'd have done it in the beginning, I think that she would have been cleared, you know, but she was just all like, so when is the information coming out? What do you know? Can I see a counselor and, you know, lie. You know, it doesn't make her look very good. So if she's concerned about that, you know, I don't know what else to tell you. I'd say come out and tell the world where you were. Who cares if you were in Frederick, if you were at the frickin' gym, chick? If that's where you were, great. We don't care. We don't really care if you're at another guy's house banging him. Whatever. Just at least show the world then that you really weren't at the Watts house and you really didn't have anything to do with this. Unless you can't, and that's why you continue to hide yourself. I don't see it any other way at this point. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, wow, you know, I don't know. He killed his kids and his wife, and you're just going to ask for witness protection program? For what? For what if you did nothing? That makes no sense. I'm kind of like beside myself with it all. But it appears as if law enforcement isn't going to be letting us know. And who knows if they're going to be continuing to look into it, because they continue to state to Chris Watts that the investigation is closed. The evidentiary is closed. The case is closed. So tuning in while I have internet connection. Nice. Hey, Soul. How you doing, honey? Your uncle is an instructor at the FBI Academy at Quantico. Right on. That's so cool, Gina. Super neat. I bet you'd have perhaps access to some pretty awesome cases and cold cases that you could share. That would be really cool. I know your channel's fairly new, so I guess there's an idea for you. Plant the seed and maybe run with it, you know? They can reopen it. They could. Yes, that's true. But I mean, you know, when are we going to get any more information? Yeah, we should ask him to help us. That's a great idea, Miss Shaylee. No doubt. Hey, Jennifer Hayes, how are you? Yeah, she didn't really care about the, you know, actual situation. She more cared about herself, what was coming, what does she have to be aware of, when was the media going to be happening? I mean, all of her questions were bizarre, to say the least. Her random crying about the girls seemed very, you know, not authentic. I don't really know, you know, what else to say about this girl. I feel like she already knows what to do, and the only reason why it's not happening is because she can't do it. That's the conclusion that I come to after, you know, continuously saying this. I've been saying this since last year when it happened, because all I could think about was, oh my God, if I was in that kind of situation, I seriously would be trying to get the public to see my side, and that I really wasn't there and I had nothing to do with this, and I truly wouldn't have wished this upon my worst enemy. I mean, no, we don't get that at all. We get, you know, more lies and deceit, and doesn't remember where she was on the night in question or the morning in question. I mean, and nobody's coming out with more information. I mean, it's a little bit odd altogether. And then to have these petitions working the way that they are, you know, it's a little bit peculiar that the petition for boycotting works just fine, and the petition for Chris's photos in his cell worked just fine, but none of the petitions working for Nicole Kessinger work at all. That's a little bit odd to me. Just saying. Just saying. Hey, Lisa. Thanks for the compliment, darling. Yeah, but they could reopen it. They care more about Patrick. Yeah, that stuff's sealed right now, you guys. And I would have gone to get the proceedings that happened on February 19th to get some of that information for you guys. But I like, seriously, they're charging like $200. So I'm not doing it. Just saying. Half Rudder. The case is closed on Chris Watts, not anyone else if they find evidence. That is true, Half Rudder. That is true. It is closed against Chris. There's nothing else that's going to happen to him no matter what he says. You know, like, it doesn't matter. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I wonder if Chris threatened her to keep her mouth shut. No, I more wonder if they approached, I had wondered in the past if they had approached him to get him to more admit to what he did in order to get the heat off of Nicole. But at this point, I mean, I don't even know what's all true and what isn't anymore, you know? I mean, both of them have lied so many freaking times. It's hard to decipher what's actually truthful that's coming out of their freaking mouth. Wonder if Jane Tonks, her main alibi, Jim, she didn't even want the police to talk to him. This confuses me. It would have given, I would have given his number and shoe size, anything, right, Jane? Like, seriously, what do you need, mofo? Because I'm not going to go get pinned down for something like this. I mean, exactly. But she was more concerned with covering herself, keeping herself safe. You know, it was more of a me for her, and no concern for the kids that were dead, no concern for the family she ripped apart, no tears for that. You know, I thought was also a little bit suspicious. I'm trying not to swear, right? So I'm thinking of creative ways to show you that I really am passionate about what I'm saying, but trying not to sound like a complete freaking biatch in the meantime. Oh boy. If she doesn't talk, go to Chris again and dangle movie to North Carolina prison to him. Moving. Yeah. But I mean, by law, they have to protect his safety and stuff too, you guys. So. I think you entered into the last drawing for the jewelry. Hello, Sheila Bud Light. Welcome. New evidence has come. Grand jury to indict DA chooses if charges are filed against NK. New evidence has come. Was that included? Who is this? Gina? Was that included in some kind of a police report or on the Colorado judicial site or something? Was there anything else that was filed in that? I'm just going to go check. I'm on Patrick Frazee. Frazee, whatever. I'm French. Colorado. Watts. Yeah, see, I don't see anything else that's been posted, so it's just like, where is this information coming from? Yeah, if anything, the law enforcement would be able to, you know, influence, you know, the words. Both flyers, perfect match, right? Yeah. Leave Jim alone, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, what is your deal, lady? If you weren't guilty about something, you honestly, you could have just given all the information. But see, I kind of think like they had probably even talked to him and stuff. It just wasn't released to us in the public because there is a lot of information and pages that are missing from the discovery. And you can see that by the pages that are numbered in the discovery compared to the pages that are actually granted access to. So I don't think they have taken the pictures yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I agree with the I'm like, I don't really think that Chris sees it as a trophy thing, but I agree with the law that he shouldn't be allowed to have it. I mean, these were the people that he killed. And, you know, he really shouldn't be looking at their pictures. And who knows what the heck he's thinking. We don't really know. And we're kind of trusting what's coming out of his mouth, right? Chris never gave a crap either. Yeah. I think Bella said to Shanann that when Nico is born, she's gonna pretend it's another girl. And Chris, bless her poor heart, she had since what? I'm not sure. I don't understand all of that. Hey, Lee McGovern. What's happening, lovely people? Welcome. We're just having general conversations right now. We had discussed the heinous murder of Rebecca Shaeffer from her super fan Stalker, Robert John Bardo. And now we are talking about Nicole Kessinger and the fact that I actually believe that she is going around contacting YouTubers and creators, and I believe that I've been one of them. And I believe that I'm not the first. I believe that she's been in contact with John Grimes, Molly Golightly, and some other channels, Armchair Detective now. She's definitely, in my opinion, sort of weeding through everything to get information and all of that. My skin looks like porcelain. Aw, thanks. That's sweet of you. I used to have porcelain dolls when I was younger. Those are so cool. I love them. They're so sweet. I go walking my little porcelain doll down the street in a little stroller. Yeah, I think that she had a thing going on with Jim. I don't think that Chris really cared either way, because if he did, he would have cared when she was trying to make him jealous, saying that she had other dates from eHarmony. She was, you know, going to meet other people. Seemed to me that she was just trying to make her lover jealous and really get him to be all hers, you know. 200 pages missing? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that she's probably still being investigated, but I could certainly see her snaking and slithering around. I just don't understand why she hasn't come forward. Hi, Trees, Velthoven. I don't think that she's necessarily taken the proper steps to clear herself. And she's in return, in that process, made herself look even worse. Had she have just come out with everything from the beginning, I think it, you know, we would have all been backed off and said, okay, well, so she really had nothing to do with it. But I mean, it's a little bit odd that Chris doesn't seem to know exactly how the girls died. And there's no fibers that are showing in the girls' mouths, yet a blanket was supposedly used over their face with a hand over the blanket. None of it is adding up. None of it makes any sense. I mean, in all honesty, somebody seems to still be lying here. And I mean, if you read the document and you saw the coroner's report, you would be able to see the coroner's word for word writing on their autopsy that there was no fiber. So I don't understand why he, you know, he doesn't seem to know this. I would like to know if he still has the pictures. I would imagine after like 9,000 signatures, maybe actually, that perhaps a corrections officer has approached him asking him to hand them over. That's entirely possible, in all honesty. Convicts should never have photos. It's against the law. Well, in all honesty, in the jail that he is in, Dodge facility allows them to have 25 photos. So legally he's allowed to, but there is a loophole here, being it that these photos that he's carrying aren't just photos of his his fan mail. It's photos of the victims that he killed. And so like there is a sense of urgency of him not being allowed to have something like that. And I can see that. I can see the point. We don't really know if he's secretly happy about what he's done, and he's secretly relieved about not having all of these bills and debt, and he's maybe secretly happy with his 4x6 cell. Or I don't actually know the measurements. I just say that randomly just in case anybody's going to come at me and be like 4x4, 4x whatever. I don't know what it is, but all I'm saying is his 4 walls. I mean, maybe he's secretly happy with it, and that's why, he seems to be chill. He seems to be very normal. He seems to be, very copacetic where he is. He's in jail with other, really big, mean, scary dudes. And he doesn't seem to be the least bit concerned. So we don't really know what he's thinking when he's looking at these pictures. And maybe he is feeling a sense of relief, which he really shouldn't be feeling. And he shouldn't be allowed to sort of reminisce with these photos of his victims in his cell. I get it, I get it. My hair color is nice. Thank you, Gina. He is going to be moved. The sooner the better. I don't think he's going to be moved from the Dodge Correctional Facility. I think he's going to be staying put there. Yeah. Yeah, NK is very self-absorbed and very much a manipulator. We could see that in her interviews with law enforcement. Never mind how she acted with Chris behind closed doors, screwing his brains out 5 times a day. We have, but what we do agree on is, had she never have come into the Watts family, she probably, Shanann, she and the kids would probably still be here, because Chris would have been none the wiser as to, her being a better choice, or the grass is greener type of option, and annihilating his family for some stupid reason. I really don't think having the pics will cause Chris Watts despair, regret, or haunting. Yeah, and I kind of can see, though, why it's a problem, and I guess I'm voicing that now and talking about it, He says that he used blankets to smother them, though, Half-Rudder. And even in his prison statement just recently, he reiterates, even when Graham asks him, Mr. Graham Cotter asks him specifically, oh, so you didn't use a blanket? And he says, no, I used the blanket. And then his hand. I have the entire, whatever was allotted to be released to the public, uploaded under full interview, prison full interview for Watts. So if you're interested in hearing some of that, I have some timestamps. Maybe I can find it, because I remember that we were talking about it. I know I'll find it. I know it's in here. Excuse me. Well, Tammy asks him at 3 hours, 10 minutes in, did you cover her face with anything? Chris Watts says, I don't know what all happened, which was really odd, how he didn't know that. And then at 3 hours, 17 minutes. So if you guys are wanting to go in and listen to the exact part, this is the timestamp for it. 3 hours, 17 minutes in, the blanket and then my hand. Chris Watts corrects Graham again after Graham inquires and asks him. So, you know, he purposely and more than a few times, guys, has gone ahead and corrected law enforcement and continuously said he's used a blanket. Blanket, 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 blanket. And it's just like there's no hairs or fibers or anything from this blanket, which wouldn't, it's not, you know, scientifically possible to cover somebody's mouth with a blanket and smother their last breath and not have any fibers on the tongue, on the throat, in the lungs, anywhere. Nothing. That's just impossible. So either the blanket didn't get used or, you know, somebody else did this because he doesn't seem to know what exactly happened. Which is really odd, you know? All of it. Really freaking odd. Hey, Heather, how's it going, hun? Yeah, I hear you, Heather. Dealing with depression all the time, honey. Tomboy for sure. Yeah, she definitely doesn't care. You listened to it the other day? Did you listen to mine, Leslie? I'm curious because I purposely wanted to do these timestamps so that you guys could, you know, just go back and hear what parts you wanted to hear for yourselves, you know? You know, he said he used blankets, but I agree that some fibers should have been found in the autopsy, right? So it's peculiar that he just doesn't seem to really know. And he keeps correcting them, you know, and it's wrong. It's not, I don't see the coroner being wrong on this. You know what I mean? I've said this before. I was like, it's either the coroner that's wrong or it's Chris that's wrong. So, and I just don't really see the coroner being wrong on this. Despite that there was oil all over them, I feel like you would have been able to see any fibers that were there, you know? Hey, Georgie girl. You found it strange that Chris Watson and Nicole Kessinger asked him to delete all their messages. And did you hear the part about how she was being really secretive, questioning him about making sure it was him that was on the phone? She was acting really weird. That's at the 2 hours and 8 minutes in, Georgie girl. If you're interested in hearing that, Nikki was covertly kind of checking and asking him questions that only he would know the answer to, just to make sure it wasn't law enforcement that had his phone, or it wasn't that she was talking to someone else. So she would ask him questions that only he would know, like, you know, what yoga studio she goes to, and something about a dog and stuff, I believe, and you know, and then asking him to delete the messages. It seemed like she was really, really paranoid about, you know, talking to law enforcement. Yet she tries to make herself look good that she's the one that went to law enforcement. Yet she deleted everything before she went there. I mean, just the whole thing is just like, you really, you know, you're bordering on you're really not being cooperative, you know? Yeah, there was no fibers on their lips or their mouth or their throat or their tongue, nothing. So it's really odd that he's saying that he used a blanket over top of his hand. I mean, underneath his hand, you know? Yeah, you should definitely go check out the timestamp at 2 hours 8 minutes in. He was explaining how Nicole Atkinson had set up a media interview with Fox News at 10 a.m. on the 14th for him. And, you know, he was talking with Nikki via text on the 13th. And he goes into to state that she was doing that. She was checking to make sure that it was really him on the phone, being secretive, all kinds of weird actions, right? I mean, if you're really not guilty, what are you worried about? If you're really not guilty, why are you deleting everything and asking him to do the same thing? and searching whether or not it's possible for law enforcement to be able to re-find those after they've been deleted. It seems to me that she was trying to hide and that she's guilty about something. Nicole Kessinger also asked her friend Charlotte to delete any messages. Yes, she did, Half Rudder. You're right about that. 100%. Absolutely. Interested in hearing that? Yes. Have to look up the interview you have. Yeah, for sure. Well, and there is a video, you guys. Oh, I can't remember which one it is right now, though, as to me doing this timestamp. I feel like it was a Tuesday video, but I can't remember. And I don't even think I titled it with anything like that. Let me grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. You guys have your 5 levels of cat house you can play on. Don't need to be on the furniture. Thank you very much. Okay, I just don't know what to believe. I guess I should scroll up a little bit here. Oh, no, okay. I'm on track. I just don't know what to believe as far as Chris Watts is concerned. Only the fact that he killed them, I do believe that. Yeah, but I mean, why doesn't he know the exact details of how they died then, Jane Tonks, you know? If the coroner couldn't find any fibers, then clearly there wasn't a blanket that was used. So why does he have that in his head that's how they that's what they how they died? Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Good to the last drop. Amy, are you talking about my coffee? I was just like swishing it. It is good too. It's that hazelnut cream that makes it so amazing. I'm like, You did the conclusion truth jail interview, or you did the conscious truth jail interview. Is that another channel or something? I've never heard of that. NK also asked her friend Charlotte to delete. Yes, she did. You never know if he's lying or not. Yes, I heard that. I agree, Gina. Yes, interested in hearing that. I must have missed it. Missed that a bit. When I was re-listening to this interview, you guys, I literally put in both headphones so that I could hear absolutely every single hesitation in his breath, every body language that I could grasp just through audio. I was literally like full blast. I would hear his half sentences, his almost starting some things. And I mean, I was just nitpicking at everything kind of thing to figure out how truthful he's really even being right now. It doesn't appear as if he's being super truthful, I have to admit. Although he sounds authentic and genuine, there's just been so many lies that I'm not sure how much of this is actually genuine and for real, you know? Yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you look up the interview. I have Leslie Mitchell. None of them are super great because of the acoustics that are in the interview room that they're using. It's all cement and metal, and you know, it's kind of echoey or whatever. But I guarantee you that if you do like I did and put in both the headphones, you will hear all of this, you know? You just got to shut out absolutely everything else, you know? That's how I did it anyways. And what 30-year-old woman needs to bring daddy to all her interviews? Yeah, exactly, right? Who's guiding like the officers as well? Like he was first naming the officer that was questioning him or questioning his daughter. He was first naming the guy, telling him he's leading in his questions and to knock it off and stop it. And otherwise the interview is going to be over type thing, you know? Like strong arming the interview is basically what he was doing. Yes, ma'am. Num num num. Here, honey. Yeah, I think he might not be being fully truthful, Gina. I completely agree. Hey, G Aussie. Here you go, honey. I wanted to show you this. Remember? I had showed it to you earlier, but here it is for you to see. So G Aussie, you see the date that's circled and the case number at the top? That's definitely Louise Turpin. And you can see that they requested the Whittier Hospital to be released to the district attorney. Come on, camera, work with me. Booyah. So, yeah, this was the one paper, and you can see that it was actually just printed, you know, for me or whatever, and it's the Superior Court of California. Quite odd, right? And this is the only thing that's on this paper, and it's stamped for the authenticity of it. It has to be read for the stamp to be valid. So I am just like baffled as to what hospital records they were ordering mid-June 2017 if the Turpins were not even arrested until January 2018. So that's what makes me 100% believe that this case happened a lot sooner than the media had released it to us, or it didn't happen in real time is what I'm trying to say. Is I think, you know, from this, that's what I'm thinking. Crazy, right, G Aussie? Hey, Phil Hughes. Thanks for telling me on text. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to text you? Do I even have your number? I don't think so. You if study this after, have to go get ready for work. Okay. I don't think that she would have any other information, to be honest. This is straight up from the courthouse. So I'm not sure that LA Hannah would have anything extra. But it's odd that this is the only paper that has the 2017 on it. If this all happened in 2018. Had 3 cups of the same hazelnut cream. The best. The best. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. What is that? I had to go grab food. Okay, Leslie, so this is the Turpin case. The 13 children in the House of Horrors in Paris, California, that were charged with, you know, collectively like 80 plus felony charges for, you know, false imprisonment and cruelty to a child and cruelty to an adult and well, assault causing bodily harm. He had lewd act with a minor as well. And anyways, this case had come out January 2018 on the media and stuff. But I have just recently ordered a copy of anything they're willing to give us for public information. But in the state of California, they have different laws as far as what they release. And so this was all we could kind of get was, well, not just the one page, but the pages on the court proceedings and the motions that were filed. Some of the preliminary hearing was in there, as well as some of the evidentiary stuff that they had against them. So, gee, Ozzy, this is literally the only time we started talking about it. I just wanted to show you the paper so that you knew. I promised you that I would. So that's just for your info. What's the date? Well, the date was printed on March 27th, 2019 for me, but it says the arrested date, of course, was January 14th, 2018. But this complaint filed by CRSF, which is California Riverside Facility, I believe, it was a subpoena from Whittier Hospital for 1 pack ordered to be released to the DA, but that was in 2017. So we're just a little bit like, well, what the fiddle? When did this happen? You know, and I really wanted to just show G Ozzy this because we had been talking about it in some messages together. So. See if I. Let's see. So check this out, guys. Let's see if I can turn this way. It's my finger. I know you can see that, right? So I've managed to figure out how to turn my camera into a webcam so that you guys are able to see kind of what I'm looking at and stuff. Like if I wanted to show you the paper that I was just showing you. Cool, right? I know. It's only been months coming. It's only been months in the works. But kind of cool, right? I have to hold it this way for you guys to get the right. Yeah, it is kind of cool. Once I figure things out, I'm like, neat. That's so cool. Getting there, I'm like, can we just work? Full range of emotions. I am female, right? You're glad you found my live today? Yeah, I'm glad you joined. I'm I'm pretty real and honest, even when it kind of hurts me, you know. I'm authentic, so authentic and genuine. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. That's my little surprise. I'm like, ooh, look what I got working. Too funny. Love it, right? I love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, as soon as I figure out how something works, I'm like, life is just so much easier. But figuring out what those things are called in order to figure out how to learn about them is a whole new ball game. Like, what the heck do you call these kind of things? If you don't know the terminology, you sound like an idiot when you're trying to ask somebody for help and they don't even know what you mean. And it's like, oh my gosh, all the way around. Oh my gosh, too funny. That's why you love me? Well, thank you. I certainly need it. A month is better than years. Yeah, I guess so, eh, Sheila? It only took me like 4 months. What car crash are you talking about? That's awesome. You love that, Jerry? I'm just glad I finally figured something out. I'm like, oh man. Well, when I do catch on, like I didn't know how to do an intro. I didn't know how to do like trailers, the channel trailer. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to make the banner for my channel. So, I mean, all of these little things that I've grown with as I've learned, you know, it's been a fun journey, I have to admit. Sometimes frustrating, sometimes depressing, especially if I can't get something to work or I can't figure it out or I can't get help to figure it out. That just it kind of makes me feel bad. It you know, it kind of sways me, but it also at the same time gives me that extra drive where I'm like, no, I'm figuring this out. Like I'm gonna get this because that's how bad I want it, you know? I seriously though, you guys, I was thinking about it today. I don't think I'd ever want to be famous. I wouldn't want to have to worry about these stalker things. I wouldn't want to have to worry about every single move I make, you know, going to a coffee shop or grocery shopping or a restaurant that paparazzi is all around. Like I just wouldn't want to deal with what comes with fame and stuff. It's not for me. I really enjoy how I live my life. And, you know, I really don't like judgmental people. And I find like as soon as you step too much into the public eye, you are up for scrutiny and, you know, people picking you apart slowly. It's not very nice because everybody makes mistakes. So it's just like, why is it your job to point out mine, you know, because you want to see, you know, somebody not succeed or something like, can you imagine how much better of a place this world would be if we all empowered and helped each other and lifted each other up and, you know, did positive things? I mean, we would all be successful and happy. And, you know, like if we could all count on each other, that would be amazing. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I was asking myself, like, is it possible ever to please everybody? And some of the answers that I got came to my mind was like, you know, if people didn't judge or if people didn't have expectations, this world would be far happier. But as soon as you have some sort of a stigma or a label or something, it, you know, it creates for this judgment to come from your peers, which is, in my opinion, unlawful. I don't think it's our job to be judging each other. Yet so many people tend to take it upon themselves to do exactly that. And it's sad because, you know, if you are somebody that has a presence in influencing and you're choosing to be a negative part to that, I don't think it's going to bring good karma. I think it's going to bring, you know, negative, bad things. But, you know, well, I also kind of go by like, if God is for me, well, then who the heck can be against me, really, you know? We're finally in a chat that nobody's fighting. Gina, my chat has always been like this, actually. Me and my moderators are really, really good at not allowing people to be picked on or, you know, treated in inappropriately, I'll say, you know. There's no reason for anybody to get attacked or to be name called or belittled just for sharing their opinion, even if it is a difference of opinion. In my opinion, I think it's good to embrace the diversity because everybody brings something different to the table. And if we could all just share our expertise and knowledge and things with each other, I feel like we would all grow a little bit, you know? Amen. Love it, Leslie. Love it. Yeah, yeah. It is a nice platform that I've created. And I wanted to do that because I'm somebody who comes from bullying. And I've also been a bully at one point in my life as well. So I thought, you know, I don't want that kind of environment for any of my viewers, even if we don't agree on the same things. You know, there's no need for all that negativity and to put somebody down just because you have a difference of opinion. I think that's pretty immature, actually. You know, and just uncalled for. Everybody has their right to their opinion and they are allowed to voice it. You don't have to be rude when you do it. You know, so thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I very much appreciate the support. I love the thumbs up. So thank you. So peaceful. Yes, trees. Velthoven. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. I'm really bad with names. And I know you're new because I've not seen you around here. Well, I think you're new. Maybe you're an old subscriber and you're under a new profile name. Thanks for the rose. I totally appreciate it. I mean the one where they could get the seatbelt of quick enough and got hurt or something. I don't know which one you're talking about, Phil Hughes. I have no idea. If you had some names maybe, or the place that it happened, perhaps even, it might help me to figure out what you got bullied last Friday in high school. Oh boy. Well, all I can say about high school is if I would have known to embrace my differences, I would have been far more confident of a person versus allowing other people to judge me and believing what they're saying is true. That's one of the biggest things that if you don't have a high level of confidence, it's almost as if you are susceptible to the negative thoughts being, you know, something of true ringing in your ear. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth, that, you know, what those people are saying it isn't true, you know, that you're not good looking or whatever it is that they're saying, or you're fat or whatever. I believe that, you know, each one of us has something good to bring to the world, and that's why we're all here. What that is exactly is to be determined by each one of us, you know, as to what exactly that is. So, but definitely, if there's one thing I could say, if you have the confidence, there will be far less bullying because you won't care what people think, you know, and you won't be listening to them believing what they're saying is true. So confidence, in my opinion, is what's key. If you could definitely, you know, keep your head up high. You had to go to the hospital. You got beat up. Oh my goodness. Well, I also say that if you have to defend yourself, then that is all right. If somebody's going to, you know, come into your space and attack you and hurt you, it is okay to fight back. Like, you don't have to take that, you know. Everyone perceives differently, and our perception is our reality or opinion. We can all get along and learn from each other. I absolutely agree with that, Jerry. I think that it's definitely, you know, not something that's easily acquired, but it's attainable. Chica, that's what your family taught you? Is that a question, or is that to me? Should all agree to disagree at times. Sometimes, you know, sometimes we can agree to disagree. You stand your ground law. Yes, stand your ground law in Colorado. "18 rings, Gina. What's that for?" Sprained your arm and wrist as well. You're not okay. Well, heal and get better, but I did kick them in the nuts. Oh, yeah. But I mean, honestly, you got to do what you got to do if you're being attacked by somebody, right? Stand up for yourself. Don't let somebody hurt you. But definitely sending you positive light and prayers and blessings and good vibes, you know. How I dealt with problems in high school came from what my family taught me. Yeah, my family put me in martial arts when well, it was right around the time that I had gotten raped and lost my virginity that way. So they had put me in martial arts to sort of learn how to protect myself and defend myself if need be. Well, you have a good day, Phil. Oh, that's your crew? Nice, Gina. That's awesome. Hello, Tracy Fowler. How are you? Tracy, what's with the lines around your photo? Yeah. It was just you know, taekwondo or whatever. It was a very light form of martial arts, but you know, taught you kicking and punching and the ability to sort of fight back in a sense, you know. I took it for